What's up, party people, and welcome back to another episode of NYC Foodways, your weekly food and culture discussion from the cultural capital of the world. My name is John, and this week's episode is dedicated to the byline badass herself, Jennifer 8 Lee, one of the finest food writers in recent memory and a major source of inspiration for this channel. This week on NYC Foodways, we turn our hungry eyes to Wu's Wonton King, located at the intersection of Rutgers Street and East Broadway in the lovely part of Manhattan where Chinatown and the LES merge. Wu's is probably my favorite restaurant in the city, for reasons that will be evident by the end of this video. It's not particularly old. In fact, it opened only 5 years ago. It's not particularly famous, although I hope to do my part to change that. It's not particularly well regarded by the notoriously misguided Yelp community. It has a 3.5-star rating, a commonality amongst many of the places this channel is due to highlight. It's not particularly beautiful. Its aesthetic could be described as functional plus, but it is particularly special, and it is the first place I recommend to out-of-towners willing to haul themselves to a part of New York essentially and blessedly devoid of tourist attractions. Wu's Wonton King serves mainly Cantonese food, a wide-ranging regional cuisine best known around the world in the form of dim sum, but one that should absolutely not be pigeonholed into the familiar sight of stacks of plates piled high with rice noodle rolls, shrimp dumplings, chicken feet, and coconut pudding. Including the lunch menu, which we'll get to in a bit, Wu's offerings run to well over 200 dishes in total. Its menu is so diverse, and it should be noted that not everything at Wu's is Cantonese cooking, that I will fully list here the categories available for your ordering pleasure. Appetizers, including Wu's eponymous wonton soup and other bangers such as cold jellyfish, chow chow style cold crab, crispy pork intestine, and fried Chinese yam. Soup, including multiple types of seafood bisque, a high-end house special seafood soup, a fortifying beef soup, and the wonderfully named 8 Treasure winter melon soup. Meat, including a delicious rack of lamb and black pepper sauce, preserved vegetables with pork belly, Hong Kong style steak, and pig intestine with sour mustard greens. Poultry. 2 of Wu's best dishes can be found here, an incredible offering of crispy fried garlic chicken and the unique sand ginger chicken, made with a more fragrant ginger than the one commonly known to us. Fried rice. Easily dismissed elsewhere, Wu's crab meat fried rice, salted fish and diced chicken fried rice, and famous golden fried rice should not be overlooked. Noodles. The most interesting dishes here are the shredded roasted duck noodles, pure umami, the house special stir-fried rice noodles with sesame, the Hong Kong-style noodles with roast pork, and the Amoy rice noodles. Seafood. Cantonese restaurants are generally famous for their seafood offerings, and Wu's certainly follows suit. Much of their fish and shellfish is plucked live from the tanks at the front of the restaurant just before preparation, which is a nice, if not uncommon, touch for restaurants located in Chinatown. The seafood section of the menu is the most extensive, and also sports some of the most creative, technically advanced, and adventurous dishes on offer. There are 2 ways of ordering seafood at Wu's. You can make your choice of lobster, crab, or fish and have it prepared in the style you prefer, say deep fried with garlic or perhaps sautéed with wine and scallions. Or you can choose one of Wu's a la carte seafood options. Don't miss the stir-fried conch with crispy tofu, sautéed sea clams with XO sauce, crispy flounder, or their salt and pepper squid. Vegetables. Vegetarian viewers of NYC Foodways have probably had a rough go of it thus far, and somewhat amusingly, this section of the menu won't offer much succor, as many of the best offerings here, such as snow peas with crab meat and sautéed chives with dried salted fish, will have to be avoided. Fortunately, Wu's excellent mapo tofu can be ordered without meat, and there are a few passable offerings of various types of sautéed greens for you to enjoy while the rest of the table is consuming the flesh of another being. Casserole. This is the only section of the dinner menu I would advocate skipping over entirely. There are many other restaurants in Chinatown that sport better preparations of the Cantonese classic clay pot rice casserole, but if you absolutely must, the best selections here are the eel with garlic casserole and the Japanese tofu with pork option. Barbecue. And here, comrades, is where things get interesting. Wu's barbecue options are so revelatory that I request, no require, no demand that every single meat eater watching this video make a pilgrimage to Wu's sometime in the next year in order to try one of the following: roast pork, barbecue ribs, marinated duck, honey roast duck, soy sauce chicken, country-style octopus, or steamed chicken. This is the New York City Foodways version of the Hajj, and all participants will be awarded the honorific John Katz appended to their last name and one free session of me ranting at you about your choice of David Cronenberg film. Oh, you thought you were done? On the contrary, we haven't even gotten to the lunch menu, which is where, in my opinion, Woo's really shines. Fran Lebowitz once said, and I'm paraphrasing a bit here, that regardless of what you think about rich people, a city comprised mainly of rich people is bound to be uninteresting. I would add, analogously, that a city comprised of restaurants catering to rich people is likewise bound to be uninteresting. Relatedly, I like to gauge the economic health of a neighborhood by the number of independent, that is, non-franchise restaurants available where a person earning minimum wage at the time of this recording, $15 an hour, could eat without breaking the bank. And not just eat, but eat well for multiple sections of the menu, without sacrificing quality, quantity, or variety. By this reasoning, Chinatown is likely the healthiest neighborhood in Manhattan, and by this metric, Wu's Wonton King at lunchtime is one of the best restaurants in class. In Manhattan, most Chinese restaurants offer the same basic lunch specials: a protein deep-fried or stir-fried, sometimes with vegetables, often accompanied by noodles or rice. And don't get me wrong, I love these dishes and have eaten hundreds over the years, but come to Wu's for lunch and a different world beckons. On offer here are affordable plates of absolutely non-standard Chinese lunch special fare. Pre-COVID, for $6.25, yes, that is $6 United States dollars and 25 cents, one could secure a generous portion of squid with black bean sauce, roast barbecue duck over rice, filet of sea bass with loofah, Peking-style pork chops, soy sauce chicken over rice, or home-style pig feet. An extra 75 cents got you braised duck or curried brisket, your choice of 2 barbecued meats over rice, or my favorite dish on the entire lunch menu, spicy beef short ribs and eggplant cooked in garlic sauce. For the big spenders, $8 could nab you 3 types of barbecued meats over rice, which is without a doubt enough food for 2 normal sane humans or 1 extremely hungry being. Prices for these dishes are up a bit since COVID, but are still extremely reasonable. Also on offer for lunch in a similar price range are bowls of Hong Kong-style soup. I like the versions with beef tripe or pork dumplings, and plates of Hong Kong-style lo mein. I like them topped with fish balls or dried scallops, ginger, and scallions. Lunchtime, or brunch time if you're about that life, is also the time to stop by for Wu's dim sum offerings. I don't want to spend a lot of time here, as I find dim sum to be played out like an Oshkosh jumpsuit, but like everything else served here, Wu's does an amazing job with their few dozen dim sum plates, and there is one I would like to single out: the rice noodle roll. Rice noodle rolls are a Cantonese standby, and Wu's are worth highlighting due to their generous portion size and high ratio of filling to noodle. My favorites are the honey pork rice roll and the parsley beef rice roll, but you really can't go wrong here. And there are even a number of excellent vegetarian options on hand, such as one stuffed with tofu skin and vegetables, to make the entire table happy. Rounding out the lunch menu at Wu's are a dozen choices of congee, aka Chinese rice porridge, which, like the aforementioned casseroles, are delicious but available in better incarnations elsewhere in Chinatown. I want to end this paean to Wu's Wonton King with a note on the history of 165 East Broadway. In the olden days, this storefront was occupied by a different restaurant, the Garden Cafeteria. This is where the food-obsessed Yiddish writer Isaac Bashevis Singer would routinely hold forth, it is said, while consuming mountains of rice pudding. Delicious. As we all know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week for another episode of NYC Foodways. Peace.